artificial intelligence. You hear that, and what comes to mind? Killer robots? Maybe some kind of digital utopia? Well, the real story of AI today is a little different. So in this explainer, we're going to cut through all that noise. We're going to break down what AI actually is, the massive economic shift it's already causing, and how it's on the verge of changing your daily life for real.
All right, here's our game plan. First, we're going to bust some myths about AI. Then we'll dive straight into the mind-boggling economic impact. We'll see AI in action with a really cool example, self-driving trucks. Then we'll explore the new rules being written for it. And finally, we'll take a peek at what our lives might look like in 2030.
Okay, so first things first. When we talk about AI, we really have to get the Hollywood blockbusters out of our heads. The reality is, well, it's way more practical and honestly, a lot more interesting.
So, should we be worried about some kind of robot uprising? Well, if you ask the experts at Stanford University, the answer is a pretty clear no. They assure us that AI is not an imminent threat. The big takeaway here is this: we need to stop thinking of AI as a conscious being. Instead, think of it as a super powerful toolkit that, we're really just starting to figure out how to use.
So what's actually in this toolkit? Well, you can think of it like a collection of really specialized skills. Things like machine learning, which helps systems learn from data, or computer vision, which lets them see the world. And look, these aren't just fancy buzzwords. This is the stuff that's already running in the background of your life. It's the engine behind your phone's voice assistant, the spam filter in your email, even your car's navigation system.
All right, so we've got a better handle on what AI actually is. Now let's talk about the money. Because honestly, the economic scale of this whole transformation, it's just staggering.
$13 trillion. Yeah, that's the number from McKinsey. It's how much value they project AI could add to the global economy by 2030. And to be clear, we're not just talking about a new product or some niche market. This is a fundamental engine for the entire global economy. I mean, it's a scale of change we almost never see.
And it's not just about adding value. It's like hitting the accelerator on the whole economy. I mean, think about this. Imagine doubling a country's economic growth rate. Just doubling it. Well, that's exactly what one analysis is projecting AI could do for 12 major developed economies by 2035. This is a truly seismic shift in how we create wealth.
But what does all this economic talk look like in the real world? So, to make this a little less abstract, let's zoom in on a concrete example. We're going to look at one critical industry where this is all happening right now: long-haul trucking. It's pretty much the perfect case study for the whole AI story.
Okay, so this whole story really starts with a huge problem. Right now, in the US alone, the trucking industry is short about 80,000 drivers. And that's not just some minor inconvenience, it's a massive bottleneck for the whole economy. It slows down deliveries, it drives up the cost of pretty much everything we buy.
But it's not just about the money. It's also a huge safety issue. Get this, a staggering 90% of truck accidents are caused by human error. And that's exactly where AI steps in. It offers a potential solution to a problem that costs both lives and, yeah, a lot of money.
So you can imagine the business case for self-driving trucks is, well, it's incredibly compelling. Adopting these trucks could potentially slash logistics costs by a whopping 45%. We're not talking about a tiny improvement here. This is a total game changer for the industry's entire financial model. So you're probably asking, where do all these savings come from? Well, it's a whole bunch of things. For starters, these trucks can run almost 24/7, which massively boosts how much they're used. They're also programmed to drive in the most fuel-efficient way possible, which is great for the bottom line and, of course, great for the environment. You add in faster deliveries, lower maintenance costs, it's a win-win-win.
And just to be crystal clear, this is not some niche little experiment. The biggest players on the planet, we're talking Walmart, FedEx, Amazon, they are pouring billions and billions of dollars into this tech. They see where this is all going, and they are racing to be at the front of the line.
Okay, so we've got this incredibly powerful technology. It's solving real-world problems and creating a ton of value. The next logical question is, how do we manage all this? How do we create some rules of the road to make sure it's all used safely and responsibly?
And that's where something like the EU's AI Act comes in. It's this groundbreaking piece of legislation that's really set to become the global standard. Think about what happened with their data privacy laws. It had this huge ripple effect all over the world. Experts are calling it the Brussels effect. And guess what? It's happening all over again with AI.
Now, what's really smart about this law is its tiered risk-based approach. So instead of some clunky one-size-fits-all rule, they're breaking AI down into different risk levels. The unacceptable stuff? Banned. Gone. High-risk systems? They face super strict rules. But then most of the AI we use every day, like in spam filters or video games, that's left pretty much alone. It's a really smart, targeted way to handle regulation.
Okay, so let's bring this all back to our trucking example. Where do you think self-driving trucks fit in? Yep, you guessed it. High risk. And that means they're going to face a whole host of really strict requirements. We're talking about intense risk assessments, using high-quality data, keeping detailed documentation, and making sure there's always some form of human oversight, all before they're even allowed on the market.
All right, so we've demystified AI, we've seen its massive economic power, we've looked at a real-world example, and we've got a handle on the new rulebook. Now let's put all those pieces together and really look at what this means for your life. And not in the distant future, I mean in the very near future.
And I really want to stress this. This is not science fiction happening decades from now. Just look at this timeline. The ban on the most dangerous AI in the EU, that's happening in 2025. Those strict rules for high-risk stuff like our trucks, they're effective by 2027. And look at this, by 2030, we could see 500,000 self-driving trucks on US roads alone. This is all happening within the next few years.
Of course, the big question on everyone's mind is, what about jobs? And it's a totally valid concern. But the story here is a little more complex than just robots are taking our jobs. It looks like AI is much more likely to transform jobs than to just wipe them out. Sure, some roles are going to change, absolutely, but a whole bunch of new ones are popping up already. Things like remote vehicle operators, AI fleet managers, even AI ethicists. It's a fundamental shift in the workforce, not a complete shutdown.
And hey, these changes aren't just happening out on the highways, they're happening inside our own bodies. By 2030, AI is going to be a massive player in healthcare. I mean, just imagine this, getting a warning about a potential disease like diabetes years before you show any symptoms, or getting medicine that's hyper-personalized to your exact genetic code. We're talking about a world where AI-assisted surgery becomes the gold standard for precision and helps you recover way faster. This is where the AI revolution gets really, really personal.
And all of this, it really brings us to the biggest question of all. That Stanford AI 100 report we mentioned earlier, it puts it perfectly. They say AI isn't just another piece of tech. It's a completely new way of creating wealth on a scale we have probably never seen before. And that right there raises a huge, huge question for all of us. Who actually gets to benefit from all this?
So, here's the thought I want to leave you with. The technology, it's here. The massive economic shift, it's happening. The rules of the road, they're being written as we speak. But that one giant question, it's still completely unanswered. As AI creates all of this incredible new value, how do we, as a society, make sure that its benefits are shared broadly and fairly? That one giant question, that's the challenge that's going to define this entire era of AI.